This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning and warm welcome to you all. I am Shubham Kadam, host for today, welcoming you to the 90th virtual webinar of Sadgun Sang Meet. Our topic for today is valuation of assets, which will be taken by Mr. Sanjay Dayal. He shall be covering valuation and its benefit, purpose of valuation, methods of valuation, responsibility of valuer, and how to become a valuer, followed by question and answer session. Go through the agenda. Virtual inauguration by Dr. Sundar Kataria, invoking the blessing of deity, chanting of Gayatri Mantra, introduction of speaker, presentation by Mr. Sanjay Dayal, question and answer session, and lastly, closing session of Dr. Sundar Kataria. Sadgun Sangh, conceived and led by Dr. Sundar Kataria, driven with a mission to elevate the quality, safety, and environmental awareness level of industries. Sadgun Sangh is a series of educative, informative events aiming to eliminate professional on possible solutions to current issues of industry and economy. His designation and organization, Chairman and Managing Director, International Certification Service. His academic qualification in Mechanical Engineer, AMI, Honorary Doctorate, Business Management. His experiences in nuclear, RAPP. He started his career in building India's first nuclear power plant at Rawalbata, Kota, Rajasthan. Oil and Gases, EIL. He contributed in developing India's first oil and gases field at Bombay High since its inception. DNV. He was head of industry and offshore development with DNV for 2 decades. ICS. He is founder of first Indian conformative assessment and inspection body known as International Certification Services Private Limited, which is a provider of total quality solution under single umbrella with wide spectrum of services. His achievement award, Lifetime Achievement Award of NACE Corcon, received several national and international awards. Now I request Dr. Kataria to virtually inaugurate the session.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Please join us for the recitation of the Gayatri Mantra. A brief introduction of our keynote speaker, Mr. Sanjay Dayal. His designation and organization in Independent Director, Sir Consultant, academic qualification in BE Mechanical. His area of specialization and experience, valuation of plant and machinery, valuation of solar and windmill projects, valuation of port equipment, power gas, oil rigs, cement plant, pipe extrusion, factories and on-site fabrication and installation, etc., assigning value to use, travel, and hydraulic cranes, industrial, port, and construction equipment, valuation on revenue earning potential, supply chain management, valuation of offshore EPC equipment, steel structures. Please welcome Mr. Sanjay Dayal. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Shubham.
Welcome, sir.
Very correct. Now, I think let me put the screen on. I have. Hello, welcome everybody. Valuation of late has become a very important topic uh, as far as the industrial applications are concerned. And there is, there is a Valuation Act also, which is supposed to come very soon. It should have come earlier than earlier than 2020, but because of the COVID, I think it has got delayed. So it is awaiting approval from the Parliament. Once it is approved, a Valuation Act will, soon get into existence. Now, coming to valuation. Valuation is a process of determining the present value of an asset. In a business context, it is often hypothetical price that a third party would pay for a given asset. Valuation are done of assets and even of liabilities. When a valuation of a company has been done, so we value the assets and we value the liabilities, and the value of the company will come the assets, the value of assets minus value of liabilities. I hope this is something which is very obvious, and this is how exactly the valuation of companies are done. Now, there are two kinds of assets. One are tangible assets. Tangible assets are those which physically exist, such as land and building, and they are also known as immovable asset. You cannot move these assets, though it is tangible, but it is fixed at one particular place. It cannot be moved from its present location. Second is plant and machinery, which is also known as movable asset. And in plant and machinery, then other things comes as inventory. Inventory could be spares, could be the items basically which have been produced on those machines, and various kinds of things. It is even the raw material and the finished good also, which is. So even the valuation of this has to be taken into existence when we are trying to build the asset side. Intangible asset is that whenever there is a company which is. Hello. No, I have done that, I believe. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Now I have to go back. I have to go back to Zoom, no? Yes. You can do that. You can do that. No. It's all very correct. I will let you know when the slide has to be changed. Once I read it, you can change the slide. If I request it, I will tell you that, because while reading, I would be giving all those details. Are you able to hear me? Okay, fine. So you can do that sharing. I could see the screen. I could see the screen. I could see that, but I don't know whether it is in Zoom or what. PC. I'm there in the browser, but I could see post attendee. I cannot see the Zoom browser which is there. Okay. So I was saying, I don't know. I think there is some amount of. So are you people able to hear? See the slides? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now I repeat once again, valuation is a process of determining the present value of an asset. In a business context, it is often the hypothetical price that a would pay third party would pay for the given asset. The asset which is there in question, the value of that is a hypothetical price, though there is a difference between a price and the value. The price sometimes is basically something which is determined by the manufacturer if he's selling whether it has got the value or not. But then the price is determined like this. But value is basically determined by the by a valuer, keeping in mind that anyone would be in a process to pay that price somewhere near that. So like suppose if I say that this asset has got a value of 100 rupees, it is expected that there would be good number of people who would be ready to pay 100 rupees for that asset. Okay, and valuation. So while we are doing valuation of company, then in that case, the assets and liabilities both are valued. And the valuation of a company is that the value of the assets which are there on the left-hand side and the value of liabilities. So from the asset, the liabilities are minus and the net value of the company comes. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Asha, I would expect that this is an interactive session. If anyone wants, he can always stop me and can put a question on that. Now, class of asset. There are basically two class of assets. One is tangible asset, which is physical asset, which you can see, like land and building. And these are also known as immovable asset. The other class of asset is plant and machinery and inventory. Now, these are classified under movable asset. You can move this asset from one place to the other. Now, this is where exactly the two classification of tangible assets are there. Then there is intangible assets like shares, loans, brand value, intellectual asset. People who are working with a company, like a company which is, a company like ICS has got a lot of intellectual assets which are there. So if a valuation of this company has to be done, the intellectual assets will come in the asset side and the brand image which is there. So this is how exactly the asset classifications are there. Now I am coming to the next slide. If anyone has got any question in this.
So we will have question answer around at the end,
Okay,
sir.
fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Now these are now valuing an asset of a company. Now the asset, while we are doing the valuation, there are three approaches which are done. One is market approach. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. You can continue.
So, can I change the slide from my side? Are you able to hear, see the change slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is the second slide. Now in this, there are three kinds of approach which are used to do the valuation. One is market approach. The other is cost approach, and the third is income approach. Market approach is basically something where exactly there is a comparable which is available. Like suppose if I am trying to value a car. So between two cars, there is always a comparable thing which is available. Based on its features, we can decide that if this car has got a value of X, the other car which has got a slightly higher, features, it could be valued X plus, certain X. And it also is a reference to the prior transactions which have happened. So market approach is basically decided on these two things. Cost approach. Cost approach is basically what it really costed to build that asset. Like suppose if I am trying to make a building. Now the buildings are not same. So a cost approach is basically there that to build that, particular, structure, there was a cost involved in that. So generally that cost, which is basically there of material, cement, labor, iron, various other things, and also the supervisory, costs which are there. Second is replacement cost. Like suppose if an asset has become, basically unserviceable, then in that case, either we buy a new item or we buy something which is available in the second-hand market. Now, both of these things are replaceable cost, but it is basically, the factor of the current asset value, because the asset, when you are like a machine, when it is getting changed, the features also gets changed. So what happens is that when we are changing this, there is there is a concept is that we have to reduce the price of that particular thing for the features which are matching with the existing asset. I cannot compare two asset. I cannot compare apple with a with a potato. If apple is basically there, then in that case we have to try and build those assets which are like apple, or if there is a potato, we have to build that asset something like a potato, and then we can compare. So it is generally known as that when two buildings are alike, there could be feature that it is a 2-bedroom, it's a 3-bedroom. So if I am trying to build a 2-bedroom house, or a replacement of a 2-bedroom house, a 3-bedroom house, I will have to reduce the price of 1 bedroom, and then only I can say that this is the replacement cost of this particular building. Third is income approach. All the assets are considered to create certain value for it, create certain revenue flow or cash flow along with this. Now, what happens is that if I am today trying to value a company, the business which is in service, so it is not that only now it is producing value. It can produce value for next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, depending upon the life of that particular industry. We calculate that what is the future cash flow that can accrue in the existing setup within 5 years or 6 years and 7 years, and then we apply cash discounting method to approach to arrive at a value of that company. So this is known as income approach. I hope I am clear. Now we come to the slide number 3. 3 main types of valuation methods are commonly known, which I have already shown you: market, cost, and income. Each method has its subtleness, suitability, advantage, and limitation. You cannot apply market approach to a product which is being made one of its kind. Generally, a fabrication, a fabrication structure which is made for a specific purpose, you cannot apply cost, market approach there. Market approach is only when you are trying to value a generic product. Okay. Second is cost approach. Cost approach is generally where exactly you can have all the cost inputs which are there. Now, generally as a valuer, you will not get all the cost inputs. Sometimes it is very difficult to get the cost input. I mean, the building was made about 20 years before. So how will the cost approach be arrived at? So the building which is going to be made now, after 20 years, what is the depreciation which is going to come? So it is going to be compared like that. Third, income approach is something which is known to everyone. I mean, a particular asset is creating an income flow. So income flow which is happening year after year. First year, it is able, this company is able to produce, say, somewhere around 10 crore worth of revenue. Second year, it is able to do, say, generally with 10% increase is, say, 11 crore. Third year, it is 12.1 crore. So accordingly, and what we will do is that with the cost discounting method, we will try to value all the incomes as on date. And that would be known as the discounted cash flow method for the income approach. Okay. So depending upon the asset classification, asset type, asset use, it is basically, decided that whether we will apply market approach, which is generally used for, assets which are of generic nature, like car, TV, fridge, laptops. Now, these are basically generic products. So there is a market approach to that. Cost approach are basically used when you have got one of its kind. An income approach is basically where exactly the income of, from the business is getting sustained. So you apply that income approach, and based on that, so based on the subtleness, suitability, advantages, and limitation, we decide on this is how the valuation has to be. Valuation of this asset has to be done. Now, approach to valuation. How a valuation is done. The first and foremost purpose, purpose is that we have to identify that what is the purpose of valuation. Now, if a valuation is for merger acquisition, and you are basically someone who is representing the person who is going to take the, this particular business. So you have to keep his views that how exactly, what exactly his perception of this, of this asset, and based on that, you have to decide. It is always said that each valuation has got a story behind it. Similarly, if say government is trying to liquidate something, So there is an auction price which has to come. The auction price is something known as distress value. So we have to identify the purpose for which the valuation is done, and based on that, only the valuation is done. I mean, if we try to do valuation of, say, liquidation with a fair market price, we will arrive at a situation where exactly we will not be able to really market that product. Because ultimately valuation is been done where the transaction can happen. Valuation is not something which has to be done only for the book purpose. It is also where the transaction has to happen. So once we understand the purpose of the evaluation, we apply the right kind of approach which is there. Then what is the scope and the what is the scope the processes can allow us? Now, say some of the processes can allow us a very detailed structure. Some of the processes may not be able to, like suppose if if there is a chemical factory, we will have to understand that if a valuation has to be done of based on how much of production can happen, what is the process scope? How exactly is the chemical to be hold for about, say, 5 days, 10 days? There are certain chemicals which have to be hold for almost about 1 month. So depending upon the scope of processes, the valuation will also differ. Then the methods that we are using for the valuation, the method we are using, whether we are using the market approach, whether we are using the cost approach, or whether we are using the income approach. Now that has to be written very clearly in the report, that the method that I have used. Now all these things are basically where we write the report that the purpose for the valuation is this, the scope of the valuation is basically this, the method used is this. Now the fourth part is integration, bridging, and upscaling. Now, is it that you need to upscale, or is that couple of assets has to be integrated? Is that something has to be I mean the bridging has to be done between the various assets. So depending upon how exactly the assets are going to be used in future, this is where exactly the study has to be done. The next is that what is the communication? Now, as a valuer, you are going to that asset for the first time, whereas the asset may be in use since last 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years. So you need a very strong communication from the person who is using it to let you know that what all things he have been doing on these, with these assets. So these communication, these detailing is, is required very much. And finally, when all these things are decided, we have to review the process, that how exactly the valuation approach or the process has to be defined, and how exactly. Now, there are certain, example which is there, and these examples are slightly elaborate. I don't know how to really say that, but during question answer, if anyone has got any question, if he says, probably I should be in a position to help that this is how exactly the entire identification, scope, valuation, methods, use, integration, bridging, upscaling, communication, and review of processes is done. Now, this is basically approach to the valuation, because valuation is basically something which is decided based on for what assignment this is to be done, for what purpose is it has to be done. Now, which I change the slide. Responsibility of a valuer. The valuer has got, nowadays the valuer responsibility has become very, very high. In fact, if a valuation given by you has got like suppose if you are giving valuation for loan, and say for some reason the loan fails, what happens is that the banker will come come to you and say that since you have given me cost of 10 crores, so we have funded 10 crores. Now this asset, or now this business is has become NPA. Please help us in selling in this asset somewhere around 10 crores minus the depreciation which will happen, the accepted depreciation. So the responsibility of valuer has increased drastically. It is no more an opinion. Sometimes you may have to perform that whatever you have decided for the valuation, that can be translated in real terms. So what should be done? There should be pre-sale advice regarding the land machine from for the owners. We should have the advice of the landowner or the machines who are the asset owners or who are going to become the asset owners, So based on the details that has been given by them, there has to be pre-sale advice, which has to be considered for doing the valuation. Knowledge of the factor that can affect property prices, such as location. Now, everyone knows that a property which is basically in upmarket area, the same 2 BHK in Andheri may cost, say, 5 crores rupees, and the same 2 BHK maybe in outskirts of Mumbai may even cost less than 50 lakhs rupees. So location plays everything being same, location plays a very important role in the valuation of the property. Economic climate. Now, we were aware about that. Right now there was COVID, and in COVID, no one was doing any transaction. So, and if if you're required to sell around that particular time, so the economic climate is not very good. Very good. So the prices will come down. Relevant property laws in that area. The property laws keeps on changing. Like suppose a particular property which is there next to a road which is getting widened. So if a road which is getting widened from say 2 lane to 4 lane, and a property which is lying somewhere which will be acquired. So the value of that property, everyone knows that in 2 years, 3 years time, this is going to be acquired. So the value of that property will be accordingly impacted because of the conditions which are happening in that particular area, and the law which is getting getting applicable in that area. Never try to do valuation of a property unless you have visited the site. So visit to the property site, preferably along with the owner or the management team who is selling that, is very, very important. Because if you are going alone, you may not know the history behind those assets. So when you're going with the with the owner of the property or the management team, you would be able to understand that what is the various values or the various considerations for creating a property at that particular site, and those inputs give you a lot of information how to really approach the valuation method. Take the pictures of the property, because you are making a report where people have not gone to the site also. So the pictures will give a representation of what the asset looks like, or is it basically in good condition, is it basically in a damaged condition, is it basically something where it has got only scrap left. And these pictures have to be attached with the report. So the ultimately all the valuation has to be translated in a report, and in this report all these pictures have to be attached. Measure the dimension of the property. The property dimension has to be measured, so that you can suggest that what has been the reason why you are taking this. Like suppose if it is a house which has got 1000 square feet of area, unless you have measured it, you cannot really say that it is 1000 square feet of area. So you have to say that the bedrooms are of this size, the living room is of this size, the outside constructions are of this size. So you have to measure all the dimensions which are attached to the property and put it in the in the report. So the responsibility of valuers have increased. Now, besides this, there are many other things also. Since I thought that it is just an introductory thing, so I have kept only those major responsibilities which are there. I mean, if basically anyone can think of some other responsibility, that can always be added to this. Okay. Now, how to become a valuer? Now, this is basically why exactly I was talking about this. Valuation has become a very big career now. Today there has been valuations which are happening, which the banks are taking. Merger acquisitions are happening. I think the loan has to be revised, or the loan has to be cut down. So for various purpose, a valuer is needed. The valuation has become a very, very intense business, because of which a valuation law is getting enacted very soon. Now, for the valuation to become a valuer, the basic qualification which is required is graduate engineer. Prior to this, people who have got some experience, people who have got diploma, people who have got IIT, they could have started the valuation practice. But if you want to really get enrolled under the Valuation Act, for that, you have to be a graduate engineer to become a valuer. A civil engineer will become valuer of land and building. He cannot do plant and machinery. Similarly, a mechanical engineer cannot do land and building valuation. So graduate engineer of relevant specification is required. A chartered accountant, sorry, in fact, it is not only graduate engineer, even a chartered accountant can become a valuer, even a company secretary can become a valuer, but they will become valuer of intangible asset for shares and things like that. Beg your pardon? Is there any question? Okay. Now, after acquiring the experience, now here you can add also one thing, that people who are MBA in finance, people who are basically chartered accountant, people who are basically company secretary, they can become valuer of financial asset, which is intangible asset. This is regarding the tangible asset. Since I am a mechanical engineer, so that's the reason I have tried to focus more on that. Acquire experience in valuation for at least 5 years before you can actually appear for examination. It is not that you have passed the examination this year and you can become valuer next year. You can join the I think the basic faculty of valuation along with a valuer who is already doing this. You can become his assistant or trainee or whatever it is, and you can join that. But examination you can give only after you have completed 5 years of experience in valuation, or if you are MTech, 3 years of. Enroll to obtain 50 years training with an RVO. Now, before appearing for this examination for evaluation, you have to enroll yourself with a RVO. Right now in this country, there are about 16 RVOs, 15 or 16 RVOs to be very precise. You have to enroll with them, take a training from them for 50 hours, which is mandatory. After this training, you are given a certificate by the RVO. The RVO gives you a certificate. This certificate is useful for you to appear. I mean, based on this, certificate of 50 hours of training, you are allowed to enroll yourself for the examination conducted by IBBI. Now, this examination is conducted by Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. So you have to, after you have taken 50 hours of training, you have to enroll yourself in the examination conducted by IBBI, and you have to pass this examination. The pass mark, the examination is of 100 marks. It is basically objective type question, and you have to secure at least 60 marks to become a valuer. Once you have passed the examination, this is not the end of it. You do not become a registered valuer. Then you have to apply for registration to IBBI through your RVO. Any question? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Requesting those who have any questions can put the questions in the chat box or directly ask.
Okay. Now, not only that, once you become a registered valuer, you have to obtain 16 CP, continuous education program, every year to keep your registration valid. So now the valuation has become slightly, you can say, oriented. And it is not that you have just passed a engineering examination, you have become a valuer, which was before 2016 very, very rampant. In India, most of the people after becoming engineer used to apply to income tax department, take a 34 AB certificate and start doing a valuation. And I mean, there was no subsequent process which is which is required to be followed. Now here there is a subsequent process also to be followed, because after you have passed the examination, got yourself registered, every year you have to be part of a continuous education program conducted by the RVO, and minimum 16 points is supposed to be acquired. If you do not acquire the 16 CEP points, maybe that your valuation license will be cancelled, because valuation license, it needs to be retained, and every year you have to pay some fees also to your RVO, because the RVO is also charging certain fees. You have to pay certain fees to attend these classes, because these CP classes are not free of cost. Depending upon the RVO, it could range anywhere between 200 to 1,000 rupees per class. So these are a couple of things which are basically required to retain your valuer license. Thank you for giving me patient hearing. If anyone has got a question, I would be more than happy to answer them. I think enough time is left over. Hello.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative talk. If anyone have any question, you can ask, unmute yourself and ask directly.
So there is one question from Sautik. Is derivative the same as valuation?
I couldn't get you. Can you repeat that?
Is derivative the same as valuation?
Derivative.
Yes, sir.
What is derivative? I would not know that. Derivative is basically something which I understand as per English is basically alternative. What is derivative? Can you explain his question once again? Hello.
So one more question. What is the meaning of chartered valuer?
Chartered valuers are basically those valuers. In fact, technically speaking, chartered valuers are those valuers who are given a certificate from a company. It is something like that, 34AB. Nowadays, after the Valuation Act, I feel that those people are also required to complete the examination, because this is based on your degree. Now, I mean, the theory which is there under, by IBBI is that similarly, passing an engineering examination, you cannot become a valuer. For a valuer, you have to have 5 years of valuation experience. Now, chartered engineer and all is not asking for anything. What they are asking is that if you are an engineer and you have got certain experience of 4 years, 5 years, they have also not limited that. And you pay a fees and you become this. Under the Valuation Act, they are not having any recognition. It was having recognition by the customs people for scrap valuation generally, or valuation of those assets which were getting imported in the country. Gradually, after the Valuation Act, there has been a discussion that most of these things will be replaced by IBBI registered valuer, who are said to be valuation under Companies Act. So chartered engineer is also a class of people who till now have been issuing certificates of valuation, or certificate of, basically you can say, fitness of the asset. They are basically required to observe the fitness, repair, maintenance, and things like that. In the value concept under Valuation Act, probably they will not have, unless they have passed the examination from IBBI, they will not, they will not be allowed to do valuation of asset. For this, I think you have to apply to Institution of Engineers, and they issue you, chartered valuer certificate, which was very common, and it was greatly used by customs people. A good number of customs people were using it for understanding the value of the imported assets which were being imported in the country based on their utility. Any other question? Hello? I could see some question in the chat box. Just a minute.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, there is one question.
I was going through this chat box. I have not heard a word derivative generally in the valuation terms. I have not heard this word. But derivative, as far as English is concerned, is basically something which is an alternative. So if it is the underlying value, the valuation, the term of value is basically the content of property in an asset. Valuation is basically to assess the property, the content of property in asset. So that is the basic, term which has been used to, to do the evaluation of, basic evaluation of asset. So the word derivative I have not come across. So I will not be able, but good that this has been, said. Let me ask this, some of my colleagues to really, come into that. Can the evaluation be challenged? Yes, very much. The evaluation can always be challenged in the court. And today, after the Valuation Act, you have to sustain, like today, we are doing, valuation for CIRP. Like suppose if a company is getting liquidated and I have done a value, now it has taken a loan of 100 crores, but the asset value is right now, according to me, is only 20 crores. So I will write that the value of the assets of this company is only 20 crores. Now the gap of 20 and 100 is 80 crores. Now the company is liable to pay that 80 crores from its own resources. Now, if that is going to happen, obviously he is going to challenge my, my valuation in the court. So I think, any valuation is now going to be challenged into the court because valuations are no more opinion. It is virtually a certificate.
There is one more question from Yogesh Chandegar. Can the evaluation be challenged in court? And if yes, then against which law?
I couldn't get you. Can you speak once again?
You've already answered that.
Okay.
Sir, I have amazing presentation and a lot of insight, sir. So I have one small question. How, when you talk about valuation of an organization, or how much does EBITDA play a role? Is EBITDA pivotal, or what are the concepts of EBITDA? Are they important? First of all, what is EBITDA? Are those concepts important? Do they give you a right judgment of the residual value of an organization or the organization by itself in terms of mergers and takeovers?
No, in mergers and, I think it has got, you can say, impact on the value of the company, but it is not only the EBITDA which is going to have that. Because say, my EBITDA is very less, but I have got 100 acres of land. Okay.
But that'll come into your asset, no, sir?
That will come into. So the EBITDA will create something like that what is the potential of this company to to generate revenue. And EBITDA plays a very important role. It's a very good question. I give you from my example. Blackstone funded a company. I will not name the company. Blackstone funded a particular company, roughly about 300 crores. And what they said is that if your EBITDA goes up by 2%, and it was a company which was basically listed with the BSE. So they say that if your EBITDA goes by 2%, they were sure that if the EBITDA goes by 2%, the share value will go up. So when they want to exit, now this was not for a takeover. This was basically for a short-term investment. I have purchased certain shares of this company, saying that I am taking a preferential share of this company, paying you 300 crore for a certain portion of share. But if your EBITDA goes up, for the same share, I will pay you another 70 crores, because they knew very well that if the EBITDA goes up by 2%, the asset value of 300 crore may become 400, 450, whatever it is. And what they are paying only 2% extra. So by paying 70 crores, 370 crores, they are ensuring that the asset value is somewhere 450 to 500 crores when they exit. So, asset has, a share is also like an asset, but it is an intangible asset and it is valued by merchant bankers. You recall, because initially anyone can, give this valuation. Now this certificate is given only by merchant bankers. Even a chartered accountant is not allowed to value the shares. So valuation, after Valuation Act, is going to have a very, very, large scope. So, basically why I had come for this particular is that telling that what is the scope which is open up. Honestly speaking, when I completed, when I completed my job and I got, superannuated, I could see that valuation was something which was opening up in a big way. IBC came. So IBC is basically, insolvency and bankruptcy code. So they came. they have got right now, more than 3,000 companies are under IBC. So every company will have minimum 6 valuer. So 18,000. Now I give you certain statistics on this. Prior to IBC 2016 in India, 40,000 valuers were there. So you can imagine I think the scope which is there. And now IBBI is saying that for IBC, I will not take anyone who is not passed the examination. And the gap has reduced so much that in 5 years' time, only 5,000 people have passed this examination, less than 5,000 people. And it has become classified. Initially, chartered accountant were doing valuation of land and building, plant and machinery, everything. Now, if a chartered accountant is doing a valuation like this, they may be, they may be questioned. So I being a mechanical engineer, I cannot do land and building. Similarly, a civil engineer cannot do plant and machinery. So it has become very, very, you can say specific. So the valuation has become something, and once the code come, it is very unfortunate that Mr. Jaitley is no more there, because this concept of valuation was brought by him. And there was another gentleman called Dr. Shahu. He was the first IBBI chairman. Right now, the another chairman who has come is Mr. Mittal. He's an IAS officer. He's a retired IAS officer. Now he has been made the chairman of it. Gradually, I think the role of the expert in valuation is picking up. And for becoming an expert, you have to acquire a certain, even chartered accountant cannot do valuation unless he has become a valuer by passing the IBBI examination. He can do rest everything, but for doing valuation of intangible asset, he has to pass the examination. And it is not only chartered accountant, it is allowed for company secretary also. It has allowed to people who have passed MBA finance also. So this is a big scope which is coming up, and people who are looking forward to, have their career in valuation, there is going to be a huge scope, huge scope. Once this Valuation Act is coming, even the bankers have stopped taking people of 34 AB. Recently, I have applied, for the empanelment in a couple of banks. They said that you have to pass IBBI examination before you can get a renewal. So people who are there as a valuer are finding it difficult to get the renewal done unless they have passed the examination.
Perfect, sir. Thank you so much.
It was really, you can say a good thing for me also that I could really rework on many of the concepts which after my passing has taken a backseat. So I had to work, I had to see those things. In fact, the Valuation Act which is going to come is a very long act. It's almost about 240 pages act which is there. Once that is going to come, the valuation is is going to open up in a very, very massive way, because they say that every 3 years a company has to get a valuation done. Even those concepts are coming.
आजकल तो almost a rating agency से ये लोग ले ही रहे हैं, because almost all banks have made it mandatory that once in 3 years or once in a year you get yourself from a rating agency. So आजकल they're taking rating agencies, means you need to have your scores from CRISIL का आपका rating है, तो CRISIL and all are giving organizations rating which banks use as a yardstick for all their estimates and valuation.
Very good.
And CRISIL has a very different way of looking at things, and that's the only.
But CRISIL where abhi aaj ke din mein, in fact, I keep on getting some inquiries from basically these people. I am today basically in panel with Exim Bank, right. And any TV which has been done. In fact, generally TV is to be done for fundings above 100 crores. But right now they are even giving me, if the funding is of 5 crores also, they say that I would like to have a TV done on that. Absolutely. There was a niche product which was coming of basically making products for making products which have got basic application of the robotics. So this was a niche product. So the bank said that since we don't understand, we would like a TV done for that also.
So
So it was
everyone, sir. In fact, sector specific, as you rightly said, the whole world is moving towards more sector specific and sector
very correct.
domain expertise. So आज ये हो गया है कि banks also do not have enough so much expertise, so they are relying on CRISIL ratings for organization where they have a rough estimate that this organization will not go bankrupt. And today technologies are so sound that you can typically predict from the performance or balance sheets that a company may stay good for the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. People give those kind of estimates today.
In valuation, there is one line which has been, said to us. In the asset valuation, we don't go by balance sheet. I will tell you why. Generally a car in 5 years time from say 1 crore will become zero. A Mercedes car in 5 years time in your books will become zero in 5 years time. It is allowed as per income tax. But maybe that if the car has not done somewhere 30,000, 40,000 kilometer, and the car was maintained well, probably I will value it for almost about 60%, and I will be able to sell it also for 60%. So one of the theory which has been said is that physical inspection, because balance sheet is basically something which has been, which is today in the, in the eyes of what do you say, banks or various agencies, something which is a colored document. So they say that let us have a physical assessment. Even for building also, building will have a very, very gradual, depreciation. But they say that today, whether the building has got some, something where exactly some damage has happened, some fire has happened, something has happened, maybe because of that. So physical inspection has, has become the order of the day. If you have not done the physical inspection, we have to write somewhere. And in some cases, the bankers say that you should put a photograph having company in the background so that we can understand that, yes, you have visited the company and you have actually seen the, asset before you have, giving your opinion. So all those things are now becoming very, very common, which initially was being done based on the balance sheet, chartered accountants, report and things like that. Not very long. I mean, up till 2018, these things were very, very common. But now no company valuation will be done other than the respective area expert. Land and building, a civil engineer; plant and machinery, a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, or chemical engineer, whosoever it is. So it is, and now, in fact, there is a new thing which is coming, is structure. In fact, I am getting a lot of inquiry that though the building life is still there, but the structure is not supporting it. I mean, we have seen, several structures, getting failed. Several structures are not, are now coming with the precast, walls and things like that. Their probably opinion from a structural engineer is also taken.
But don't you think, sir, that there are too many concepts which are emerging in the market? एक तो क्या होता है सर, एक जैसा है कि आप एक वैल्यूएशन करते हो, दूसरा उसके ऊपर हम एक आईडीवी वैल्यू जो हम डिक्लेयर करते हैं कि हमारा व्हीकल का एक आईडीवी है, जिसके हिसाब से इंश्योरर्स नॉर्मली बेस देयर प्रीमियम्स. अब होता क्या है कि आप अगर वैल्यूएशन करोगे वो आईडीवी से ऑलमोस्ट डिफर करेगा ही करेगा, एंड दिस वुड अप्लाई एवरीवेयर. Then there is another residual concept which comes to salvage value. अब कुछ नहीं हो रहा है तो जो भी बच गया उसका एक सैल्वेज असेसमेंट भी करा लो, उसका एक वैल्यूएशन आ जाता है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, उसको मैंने अभी हम बता रहे हैं. इनफैक्ट अभी रिसेंटली आपको बहुत, मतलब ऐसा है कि जो आपको क्रेन वैल्यूएशन होता था, क्रेन वैल्यूएशन में बहुत लोग पहले आपको बुक वैल्यू के ऊपर करते थे. बुक वैल्यू के ऊपर रिप्लेसमेंट वैल्यू आज के दिन में आपको नहीं आती थी, तो उनको अंडर इंश्योरेंस लगा देते थे. अब 20 करोड़ के क्रेन में आपको 5 करोड़ का आपको लॉस हुआ और उसका बुक वैल्यू आपको घट करके हो गया था से 8 करोड़ 10 करोड़, तो जो भी आपका 5 करोड़ का वैल्यूएशन हुआ उसके ऊपर स्ट्रेट अवे 50% निकल गया. उसके बाद डिप्रिसिएशन निकला, पहले अंडर इंश्योरेंस हुआ फिर डिप्रिसिएशन निकला. नाउ वैल्यूएशन में देयर इज अ कांसेप्ट हाउ द करेंसी हैज डीवैल्यूड. नाउ बोथ द डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर देयर. 20 करोड़ में आपने इसको 2010 में खरीदा था. आज इसकी इंश्योरेंस वैल्यू पहले लोग कम कर देते थे, अभी लोगों ने क्या किया था, ये 20 करोड़ की क्रेन, जो नई क्रेन आपको आज के दिन में आ रही है 40-50 करोड़ की, उसका आज के दिन में ला करके आपको जो वैल्यू दे रहे थे, उसको भी आज के दिन में इंश्योरेंस कंपनी आपको लेने से मना कर रही थी. बिकॉज कल को जब इनको स्क्रैप का वैल्यू देना होगा तो इन्होंने 50 करोड़ के ऊपर आपको आज के दिन में दिया हुआ है, तो कल को यदि टोटल लॉस हो गया तो इनको 50 करोड़ के ऊपर देना पड़ता था। तो मेनी क्रेन ऑफ 400 टन्स एंड अबव कैपेसिटी वाज नॉट गेटिंग इंश्योर्ड. I mean, what has happened is that here the valuation has come into play. What we say is that the value of rupee in 2010, there is an index which is published by RBI,
Correct.
has become 124. Has become 124 rupees today. 100 rupees has become 124 rupees today. So the replacement cost of this crane will be 124 rupees. So you have to take insurance of 124 rupees, not 250 rupees.
Correct. So that concept is very predominant in basically in plant and machinery, because what you purchased yesterday will always be more expensive today.
Very correct. तो हम लोग ये प्लांट एंड मशीन लगा रहे थे. अभी आज के दिन में क्रेन वाले लोग हमको, I have done at least about 50 cranes based on this concept. And insurance company is also happy that my liabilities are not going high. The customer is happy because अब उनको अंडर इंश्योरेंस नहीं लगेगा. पहले क्या था कि 20 करोड़ के क्रेन का वो आज के दिन में 40 करोड़ का आपको नया क्रेन का आपको कोटेशन ला के देते थे और 40 करोड़ के ऊपर प्रीमियम देते थे. उसके ऊपर फिर कंपनी आपको अंडर इंश्योरेंस नहीं लगा रही थी, लेकिन ऑब्सोलेंस लगा रही थी. सर्वेयर के पास आज के दिन में वो नॉलेज नहीं था कि वो आज के दिन में ऑब्सोलेंस सही लगाएं. अब कहीं पर ऑब्सोलेंस उन्होंने 40% लगा दिया, कहीं पर किसी ने 60% भी लगा दिया.
But then there are other concepts also where you get a replacement as similar condition will be replaced. So if I have a total loss of equipment, there will be replacement. अब उसमें क्या होता है सर, रिप्लेसमेंट एज ऑन टुडे दैट इक्विपमेंट का आईडीवी या डेप्रिशिएटेड या असेस्ड वैल्यू सबसे ज्यादा वो निकलता है. तो
आईडीवी कौन देता है? आईडीवी तो पहले आज के दिन में आपको जो इंश्योरर था वही आपको देता था ना, उसमें कोई कैलकुलेशन नहीं होता था.
बिल्कुल, जो आपने खरीदा उसको डेप्रिशिएट करते हुए आईडीवी वैल्यू निकालते थे. लेकिन आज कंसेप्ट इंक्रीमेंटल कंसेप्ट का कंसेप्ट है ही नहीं आज भी.
नहीं, अभी ये समय बता रहा हूँ कि जितने आपको बड़ी कंपनी ऑल कार्गो हुई, ऑफशोर हुई, ये लोग आज के दिन में अपने क्रेन का आज के दिन में करेंसी डिवैल्यूएशन के ऊपर निकाल रहे हैं. इन्होंने खरीदा था 20 करोड़ में, बट आज उसका आपको ये इंश्योरेंस ले रहे हैं 27-28 करोड़ का. तो इसमें इसमें इंश्योरेंस
जैसे गाड़ी देखेंगे सर, आप एक 10 साल पुरानी गाड़ी देखेंगे तो उसका बेसिक कॉस्ट आज के कॉस्ट से कम 30 to 40% लेसर होता है. दिस इंक्रीमेंटल रुपी कॉस्ट आप अगर इंडेक्स करोगे तो ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर आ जाता है. ये कंसेप्ट वहां बैठता है. लेकिन आईडीवी नॉर्मली क्या करते हैं, जिस रेट पे आपने खरीदी वहीं से घटते हम आईडीवी पे आ जाते हैं. तो ये जो ब्रिज है दोनों के बीच का, वो थोड़ा फासला ज्यादा है सर, बिकॉज आपका
इसीलिए अंडर इंश्योरेंस लगा रहे हैं, इसीलिए वो लोग अंडर इंश्योरेंस लगा रहे हैं ना. तो अभी यदि इस कंसेप्ट पर कि आपने 20 करोड़ के क्रेन को 28 करोड़ के ऊपर किया बेस्ड ऑन दी आरबीआई इंडेक्स, बोथ आर डॉक्यूमेंटेड. 20 करोड़ में आपको आज के दिन में कस्टम्स में आपने डिक्लेयर किया था, सो दैट वाज योर इंपोर्ट वैल्यू. नाउ यू आर सेइंग कि साहब मेरा इंपोर्ट वैल्यू तो 20 करोड़ था, लेकिन अभी आज के दिन में आईबीबीआई इंडेक्सिंग के हिसाब से ये 28 करोड़ हो गया. तो हमको आज यदि ये क्रेन खरीदने के लिए जाएंगे तो हमको 28 करोड़ देना होगा, तो मैं इंश्योरेंस 28 करोड़ का लूंगा. तो अंडर इंश्योरेंस क्लॉज से आप बच गए, which was very very dangerous for people, for assets which were of very high class. ये हम लोग आज के दिन में प्लांट एंड मशीनरी में लगाते थे, यहाँ नहीं लगाते थे. अब यहाँ हमने आज के दिन में किसी के साथ डिस्कस किया, उनको समझ में आ गया, फिर उन्होंने इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के साथ डिस्कस किया.
करेक्ट.
इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को दोनों डॉक्यूमेंट दिखाया गया कि साहब ये इंपोर्ट, ऑल दीज डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर नॉट कुक्ड. आपका आईडीबी जो है ये आपका कंसेप्ट वैल्यू है. आपका आज के दिन में जो आईटी डेप्रिसिएशन है, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ कंसेप्ट वैल्यू. your asset is not depreciating at the same rate at which you are allowed to take depreciation for your income, for your tax purpose.
करेक्ट.
तो अभी ये हो गया है, और मेरे ख्याल से करीब मैंने आपको 45-50 क्लेम किया है. फॉर्चुनेटली अभी तक कोई आपको क्रेन के ऊपर आपको कभी क्लेम नहीं आया. क्लेम आएगा तो प्रोबेबली आई विल बी एबल टू टेल यू.
राइट सर, राइट. थैंक यू सो मच.
तो वैल्यूएशन का भी बहुत सारा आपको यूज हो रहा है. I think if we have as we have basically आपको collaborated, we can see many avenues जहाँ पर मैं आपसे सर्टिफिकेशन ले सकता हूँ. आपको लगेगा कि there are certain wings जहाँ पर आप हमसे हेल्प ले सकते हैं. तो we can work as a basically as a as a joint आपको joint venture कंसेप्ट के ऊपर हम लोग कहीं पर काम कर सकते हैं.
Over to you, Shubham.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shubham. you can, my mail ID is there. I will try to, get this answer. What was the meaning of this basic derivative? And I will write a mail to Jharna or Sushma, whosoever it is.
Sir, you please feel free to share your email ID and mobile number in the chat box, and whoever wishes to take it will take it from there, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank
And
you.
I think Sautik had mentioned that we will ask Sautik to write to you and clarify his question in terms of derivative.
Okay.
Our next session is on legal governance, risk management and compliances, LGRC, an integrated approach of ISO management, standard by Ms. Smita Venkatesh. She is management consultant, auditor and trainer. She shall be covering what is GRC, and ISO management standard, trends in GRC. ICA is pleased to provide you all its research and development, integrated management system, QMS, EMS, and OHSAS, excellence in education management. ISO made easy in Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, and Hindi. Feedback form. Please register on www.sadgunsang.org and go in your login and give feedback. On behalf of Sadgun Sang team, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. We now officially close the session. Thank you all.
Okay, can I leave now?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was really
Thank you.
lot of insights, and we'll connect with you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.